to the RunRX podcast, where we talk about all things running. As many runners know, it's 90% mental. So join Coach Valerie and Coach Caroline as we go through the mental side of running.
Hello, and welcome to the RunRX podcast. I'm your host, Coach Caroline, and I'm here with Coach Valerie. Coach Valerie, you told me some new shoes came out. Can you tell me about those? I have not been keeping up on the shoe market.
Yes, I'm always up on the shoe market. It's a super, well, here's the thing. So let's just go for a second. It's called a super shoe. And so it's not really, it's a new brand. Well, it's not a new brand, but so Nike came out with the initial super shoe. And this super shoe, the Nike one, came out like, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. It was when Kipchoge ran the sub 2. So he ran it in this Nike super shoe. And when it first came out, people were like, it's cheating. Like they put this carbon plate in and it magically made everybody faster. That was elite. And this is a really important thing. So the super shoe then also became available to everybody. So they opened it up like anyone can buy this super shoe. And what we really saw was people that really don't run faster than say a 6 or 7 minute mile aren't really getting the data, aren't really getting the benefits of the data of the whatever the super shoe is supposed to do, which I'll talk about in just a second. So it was kind of exciting. And then we saw, as trends do, everyone was still buying it, but we weren't hearing as much conversation. Well, last weekend, this woman won the marathon, the Berlin Marathon, and she won it in a super shoe, but it's a brand new super shoe. It's the most expensive super shoe, and it's only good for one marathon. It's made by Adidas. So this is really creating a super buzz on top of the super shoe. And of course, she didn't just win. She broke the world record. I mean, she ran a 2:14. And so she broke the record. She broke her own PR by like 20 minutes. Like it's really like, it's amazing what that shoe, if people think it's just the shoe, if you will, did for her. So what we were saying, of course, is that, the hard part is we're like, I'm not, how would I say it? If you had $500 to just throw away, I can see where a runner would be like, why wouldn't I try that shoe? Right. I mean, why not? She won. She really enjoyed it, obviously. And, that kind of thing. And then for me, as someone that's been like coaching running for as long as I have, being a runner as long as I have, for me, the thought of a super shoe really, to me, takes away from the run. She's a super runner. There's no way she could run the run she ran if she wasn't already amazingly talented. So what the shoe does is helps her perform at her optimal performance. So I just want to say this. I was reading this article, and it's in Outside Magazine, and it says it's like a Lamborghini. We could all buy one, but unless you know how to really drive one, it's not really going to benefit you, right? And that's kind of what they now say. They have 13 years of data collection on this specific type of shoe. And they said, what we're seeing is no change in the average runner. And we're still seeing the same thing, that unless someone runs sub, say 6 minute miles, they're seeing maybe a 0.9 to 1% boost. And so then, And so for someone, they might say, well, that's okay, And then the other thing, though, is to understand, okay, and this is the way this guy wrote this. So this is kind of, this is a researcher that's been researching these shoes. So he said, what people need to understand, that it's not like running on a spring. It's foam. So it really requires that your landing is controlled with every step. Because if you don't land right, then instead your energy and your foot is going to actually be going side to side, and it's going to be really hard on your ankles, and your quads, hips, and ankles are going to be toast long before you get to the end of the race. Wow. So what he's saying is someone that's not running with her form is going to actually feel a negative side effect to that super shoe. Like you're going to have to train in that shoe to be good at running in that shoe. And the thing is that what they did is they made a shoe that helped her run better. Not, you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And what's so weird, what's so crazy to me is that we're still doing this. Like we're still so much wanting the shoe to make the runner,
Right.
you know, because what
And
can you really copy from another runner?
right.
Their outfit, their shoe, because we still don't have the vision to see that you could actually run like she runs, not as fast as she runs. You may not run
Right.
a 2:11 marathon or, you know, 2:11 marathon. However, that's what I feel like is missing. Even though the shoe company itself admits it, that they made this shoe for her, you know, or for Kipchoge or for these elite people, and they do it in the way they run. So it's just for me, it's so fascinating because people will buy the shoe. However, they don't try to mimic the runner.
Right. Which is really what's making them run faster, not the shoe. And I think what's so amazing is the idea that a 12-minute miler thinks that they're going to get the shoe and be a 9-minute miler, and it's just not going to happen.
Well,
Is
and
what you're
also,
saying.
and this shoe, by the way, is now illegal. That you can't even. Well, you and I could wear it, but it is not. It's not going to be allowed for elites to run in it because it's giving them too much advantage. Isn't that wild?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So you're going to pay this money for a shoe that is now not even allowed to be worn. So that's the interesting thing, is that's the way the track and field or World Running Federation is countering this, is to say, okay, we're going to allow you to have this carbon plate, because they really do believe this carbon plate is what's giving them the advantage in the foam. So we'll let you have it, but only to this height. And then what's interesting is like kids that run cross country, they can wear whatever. Like it doesn't regulate to them. And they're the ones that should be least, you know, they should not be
Right.
wearing the shoe the least, right? And
Right.
right. And so I think what's and we actually asked our runners, guys, and you're welcome to comment. We'd love to hear it. If you try them, let us know. Like, how did you feel differently? Because the challenge I have is no matter, it's like the Michael Jordan shoes, which is still the top sellers. He's still selling, right? You know, because you want to jump like Jordan. So there is like that magic thought of the shoe. But the reality is most people are already playing basketball, or they, you know, they like the shoe, they like how it feels for basketball. And they used to do things like, remember the pump, the old Reebok where you pump the shoe? Remember that? You could jump higher.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, you know, they were like, not really, but it feels cool. And so this is to me the same thing. So some people will feel a little bit in effect and some people may not. Like this guy saying, if you really don't run like this, if you already don't have her running style, your quads, hips, and ankles are going to be toast, then that doesn't seem very exciting to wear that shoe, right?
Right.
And to me, the best part is like, absolutely go try stuff like that. You know, if you want to try a shoe, but then think, wouldn't it be more fun to try to run how she runs?
Right. and not necessarily, because because that's the other thing that kind of gets me. It's like, okay, I'm going to spend all this money and supposedly it'll only last for one marathon. And I'm thinking, and that's probably a 2:11 marathon, maybe a 2.5-hour marathon if you look at time.
Ours is going to
last for a 4-hour marathon, or
right? Ours
what am I
going to last?
Are we going to be out there on the track at the half mark, and our souls are coming out because, you know, we're just doing our, you know, incorrect running method, but even
it's
if I'm
the
running
Cinderella
correctly,
shoe.
Yeah, it's the glass slipper. It had to have hurt. Okay,
well, no,
guys.
I just mean that, like, past a certain point, it turns back into the pumpkin, right? So
that's an
it's
even
like
better analogy.
Like, you're gonna get a benefit for about 2.5 hours, and then sorry.
Yeah, right when you need it the most.
Yeah, right.
You're not gonna have any spring. So we would love to hear from you guys. Have you tried these shoes? Have you gone? I do know influencers in other areas that run as their hobby that I see doing it, and it always kind of makes me cringe. But that's not fair. I mean, hey, if you're enjoying it or if you got some kind of benefit out of it, we'd love to hear about it. Or if you felt like, oh my God, I spend this kind of money and it did nothing. Well, let's hear that too. We would love to hear from you. You can email us at, Go ahead.
Let me just jump in real quick, because I want to say something on the flip end of that. You'll also note that I'm not recommending that people just take their shoes off either. And that's one thing for all of you guys, just something to keep in mind, that this shoe in particular, we were just talking about because of the label of the super shoe. So it's not like we're telling you, please don't enjoy having some cushion or anything like that. It's about being comfortable. And just to know that if you ever join our program, our main thing is getting you in a shoe that allows you to run in the most natural way you can run. That's all. Okay.
Definitely. So guys, that being said, if you have any questions, if you've tried the super shoe, if you're interested in finding out more about like what shoes Valerie recommends, we do have videos on YouTube. We're trying to get more content out to YouTube and other channels. And so you can check out our What Shoes Does Valerie Recommend? We probably should update that, Valerie. It's been about 2 years. And obviously shoes have changed. But you can email us at support@runrx.fit. That's support@run.fit. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us on the RunRX podcast. If you'd like to know more, join us at www.runrx.fit. And if you have additional questions that you'd like answered on the podcast, email us at support@runrx.fit.